ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणाम् इक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। Have we done the 58th? We have done 59th shloka, page number 143. tadyuktamakhilaṃ vastu vyavahārastadanvitaḥ tasmātsarvagataṃ brahma kṣīre sarpirivākhile kṣīre sarpihi iva akhile. In the milk, as it comes freshly from the udders, the reason I have to specify this is many kids do not know that it comes from a cow and the udder, it comes from a milk packet. So I have to specify that the fresh milk coming from the udders, as you squeeze the udders and the milk froths into the container, in that milk there is in and through sarpihi. Sarpihi means fat content. There is ghee which is hidden not in the sense that it is somewhere underneath lying. Through and through the entire milk that you have just milked from the cow, it has that fat content, that ghee. But it is not tangible for us. So what do? We boil that milk, not in a rush, but on a low flame, and then it is brought down to a certain little warmer than the room temperature. And in this kind of tropical environment, even room temperature is fine. And then you add the culture into it. Once you add the culture into it, now it is the cultured milk. Samskarita dugdha. Once you let it undisturbed in a warm corner, it settles down to become curd. Now, when it settles down to become curd, chemically everything is changed. It has changed from lactic acid to lactobacillus, technical term. Once it changes, then the cream is scooped out. All that cream is collected, gathered, usually for a week period or so, and then it is churned. Once it churns, you have the experience of churning it. So it is a little bit of an effort. In the earlier days, what I remember in villages, the pot itself was about 2.5 feet tall and a wide one. In that there is a wooden stick with a churning end. To that the thread is tied or the rope is tied, and then you hold that pot with your 2 feet and then start swinging. All your abdominal exercise is done. To do that, we go to the gym these days. Go back to the old ways, you would require nothing of this sort and you would remain in a fit, toned shape. So you churn it. Initially, the bigger particles of the cream that you have collected starts breaking down. And as it breaks down, it has to be a very violent churn for it to break. It froths up. Then the froth starts reducing. Then over a period of time, in quick succession, there comes the white floating tattva. And that white floating tattva is gathered out, put in water, squeeze all the elements of that curd in that butter, and then you take that to the fire and again low flame, it all starts melting. It then boils to a point wherein it becomes golden color with a nice smell, fragrance to it. And at that point, you stop. Wherein even those particles of curd which are left behind, they turn to golden color. That is when you stop. Even though you have stopped the fire, the heat of this fat which is now ready, it will turn it into dark brown. You have to stop at that point itself. If you wait for that to dark brown at the heat level of the fire, then what you will get is a carbonized, the ghee becomes carbonized. Caramelized is tasty, carbonized is not that tasty. So you have to know the point. And thus done, that ghee, see in the Panchamrita, ghee is added, it is really Amrita. Once made, there is no expiration date to it. There is a place called Palani. When you go there, there are certain shops wherein the claim is that the ghee has been there, which has aged, which has quite a medicinal value to it. It stays. When I say it aged, it is not 10 years, 15 years, I am talking of hundreds of years. It stays without getting corrupted. The freshness remains. So as that ghee is completely permeating the entire milk, but not visible. So what do? you add the Vedanta Shravana as the culture into the Antakarana. And then you settle down in deep contemplative curdling. And once that settles, all the curd settles down, all the fat floats up as the cream, you scoop that cream. And once that is scooped out, then you do a severe, intense mathana. The antar mathana is done. And once that mathana is done, there is the butter that comes out, the essence of it. Now, this essence of it, though visible, though tangible, it is not in its absolute format. So, you take it to the, as Gurudev puts it in Meditation and Life, to the white heat of meditation. Usually the flame is yellow or blue. When it's very intense, it is almost white. There, the butter melts down, all the impurities are settled, and what is left behind is the essence which was not visible, which was not seen when we milked it out. Similarly, once this example is clear, and similarly, tadyuktamakhilaṃ vastu tadbrahmetyavadhārayet yuktam. Yuktam is permeating akhilam vastu, the entire creation. Vyavahārastadanvitaḥ, all the possible interactions, vyavahāra, happen only in the presence of this vastu, this tatpada, brahma padartha, because of which everything is permeated and the substratum is this brahma padartha. Any vyavahāra can occur, without which there is no vyavahāra that is possible. So therefore, when an atheist says, I don't believe in Supreme, I don't believe in God, which essentially means you don't believe in yourself. What are we calling that Supreme as? Your own very state of being. And when you end up saying that there is no one as Supreme, you are negating yourself, though it is a futile effort, because you can never negate yourself. You as that conscious principle always exists. Why does it exist? Because its very nature is existence. I think it is the Western philosopher called Descartes. He says, I think, therefore I am. Mind is functioning, therefore I am. But then, if that were true, there are places, there are experiences where I am not. Where I am not thinking. That is the correct sentence. Though I am not thinking, I still continue to exist. Both in the waking world as well as in the deep sleep world. Narayana. both in the waking world as well as in the deep sleep world. How come in the waking world? When there is a shocking moment, I can give you a couple of examples of shocking moment. Early in the morning, does anybody here have taking shower in cold water? That has been my tradition for the last several decades. Because first time I went to Haridwar, Rishikesh and beyond, it was so cold that I was shivering even after wearing clothes. So I said, I should be ready for it. So cold shower. The first moment as you stand underneath that cold water, what happens? You see that you hold your breath, and for a fraction of few moments, mind stops. When the mind ceases to be and you are still under that cold shower, do you cease to exist? Supposing suddenly there is someone that comes and outrageous act out of the blue comes and slaps you tight. What happens in that moment? जब बच्चे थे तो ऐसे एक्सपीरियंस बहुत होते थे. Lost in our own masti, suddenly an elder comes. They think that it is unapproved. Out of the blue, one top spin. For a few moments, what happens? Mind is stambita. Mind is not functioning. It is only later the drama begins. All the reaction to it, all the pain of it, you don't even feel the pain. It's something amazing, right? If there is that kind of a force used, you should feel the pain. But you are so shocked, the mind is so blocked that you don't even feel the pain. It is only later. Once the mind is active, you start feeling the pain and the drama begins. So at that moment when the mind is completely stambita, blocked, do you cease to exist? There are several such examples. That where the mind is completely blocked and yet I am in Jagrata avastha, I don't cease to exist. Sushupti avastha also, I don't cease to exist. If I were to cease to exist in the Sushupti avastha, none of us would be loving to sleep. Why? It is a fear factor. We would have been like probably stapling our eyelashes up to keep us awake. Why? Neend mein gaya to main gaya. If I get into sleep, then I cease to exist. No. Therefore, Vedanta says, it is not that I think, therefore I am, but rather I am, therefore I think. Tadyuktamakhilaṃ vastu. Vastu meaning all the multitude that we see is permeated in and through the entire creation by that Brahma Tattva. Therefore, whether you have realized it or not realized it, what actually are we interacting with? Is that pure conscious principle alone? Supposing, I was at somebody's house in Bombay. There was on the center table a nice crystal, a nice sized crystal. And along with me, a jeweler's son who was in Yuva Kendra, he had also come. So as we went, sat down, he didn't even touch that crystal. It was being used as a paperweight. So when the host went in to get some chai pani, he turns to me in a hushed voice. Swamiji, are these people loaded? Loaded with what? Money, of course. I said, why do you say? Well, they're rich, but they're not like, loaded rich. But why do you say that? What makes you think that? So he says, wo jo paperweight hai na, I don't think they know what it is then. So very casually when they brought the chai pani, I asked, where did you get, what is this? Oh, it's not even a crystal, it is a glass. When we had gone wherever, Singapore or somewhere, on the roadside, somehow, my wife likes these shiny things and it was inexpensive. So I said, go ahead, purchase it. And we brought it in. Then I looked at this Yuva Kendra member. I said, please share your wisdom. He said, sir, you may not be aware, I am a jeweler. That which you have kept here as a paperweight is actually a good sized diamond. Turant, immediate. Where did that diamond go? Into the safe, into the locker. Whether it was in locker or on the center table, what was its reality? It has always been the diamond. Whether you knew its value or did not know its value, you are interacting with the diamond. Only then you realize it, the value has skyrocketed. While you did not know, did not realize it, its value was not there, its vastu swarupa did not suddenly change. It had always been that alone. Similarly, from the eyes of that who has realized this, what do they see all across? Nothing but that Atma Chaitanya Brahma Tattva alone. So when somebody says, where is God? Where is that Supreme? So the counter question given is, where is it not? However intense be a devotee, you look at the progression of Kabir's dohas or Mirabai's bhajans or Sadashiva Brahmendra kritis or Tyagaraja kritis or Annamaya's kritis, you will see that initially with a deep sense of devotion that they begin, but then as it progresses, as their intensity merges into that absolute divine, The words and vocabulary change. Annamaya says, Antayu nive hari pundari kaksha. Everything is nothing but you alone. In Tyagaraja Kritis, you pick any Kriti. Right from his first one to the last one. You will see that he is talking purely from this Advaita Siddhanta standpoint only. You see the transition in Mirabai's bhajans in one bhajan itself. She says, Prabhu more, us par karao. Take me across this bhavasagar. And then by the end, last paragraph, she says, Mohe ab fikar nahi taran ki. I do not have the desire to get across. Why? Bhavasagar ab sukh gayo hai. There is no more bhavasagar. Why? All that which exists is that Supreme alone. tadyuktamakhilaṃ vastu. Everything is permeated purely by this conscious existential principle alone. Nothing other than it. If it is because the easiness, I-S-ness, is the very existential principle. Only that we start the name to that form and begins the samsara. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. From the namadheya itself it begins. The form has to have a name, the name has to have a form, and with that starts our samsara. Without that name, it is that pure Brahman alone. Tat sarvam brahma tattva yuktam akhilam. Vyavahāra happens only because it is tat anvitam. Anvitam, permeated. It is substantiated by that substratum alone. Tasmāt, therefore, understand, sarvagataṃ brahma. There is nothing but that pure conscious existential principle alone. बस देखने की दृष्टि बदलनी चाहिए. यद्भावम तद्भवति. Whatever is the bhava, we see it that way. In a very vyavaharik way, if the mind and the mood is pleasant, through the rain, everything looks beautiful. If the mind is not pleasant, we start getting frustrated. Up until then, we have been asking for it. It's been so late. It's already coming to the end of July. Not enough rains. Rains should have already started. June mein? Rains should have already started in June. It's already end of July. No rains ho, no rains ho. And when it starts raining and your mood is not right, it's so gloomy. I have not seen the sun for the last 3 days. Decide कर लो, चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए. यद्भावम तद्भवति. But when the bhava is of the absolute, what do you see? Nothing less than that absolute. tasmātsarvagataṃ brahma kṣīre sarpihi iva akhile. Just like the ghee is permeating through and through the entire milk structure, it's only that we have to put the right effort. Right effort of sadhana that has to be done in a proper order. If you take that milk and start directly meditating without boiling, do you think ghee will just come out? It seems ridiculous, right? So is the ridiculousness wherein not knowing what to contemplate on or what to meditate on, सबको चढ़ी पड़ी है, मेडिटेशन करते हैं. किस पे करोगे यार? That tattva which has to be meditated upon has to be clear. So therefore, the steps of that sadhana has to be done in its proper order. That there is enough shravana, manana, nididhyasana. Without manana, you try nididhyasana, you would end up warped up. It's like the cheap tawa that you get. You put it on fire, what happens? It starts, taking dance classes. You can call that tawa as Ashtavakra. Wherever it is weak, it starts bending. Our experience is also warped. And then we frustratingly say, I have been meditating, Swami, kuch hua hi nahi. Hoga bhi nahi. Because the krama has to be clear. Continuing. This is a little tongue twisting. I will go a little slow. anaṇvasthūlamahrasvamadīrghamajamavyayam. anaṇvasthūlamahrasvamadīrghamajamavyayam. That was easy, the last one. arūpaguṇavarṇākhyaṃ. tadbrahmetyavadhārayet. Understand and realize this to be that Brahman. What is it? Ananu asthulam ahrasvam adirgham arūpam agunam avarnam akhyam. We have heard the word khyati. Khyati means what? Fame. Fame when you translate it into Hindi, how do we translate it? Acha naam kamao. Right? So where in khyati is this naam? Khyati means name. Akhyati means that which is nameless. Ananu, that which is not infinitesimally small. Oh, then it must be big. Asthulam, it is not big either. One meaning of sthula is gross, sthula sharira. The other meaning of sthula is very big. Anu is micro. Sthula is very big. It is neither anu nor sthula. Harasva, short. Ahrasva, that which is not short. Adirgha, that which is not long. Now, why are these contradictions? Because mind functions in contradictions. Mind means functioning in contradictions. Wherein we have come to the point of conviction that you can enjoy sukha only when there is little bit of dukkha. Again, a warped thinking. And the example that they would give is you are eating a sweet, but you love sweet. So therefore, in between, you have a little bit of chutney, something chatpat. And after that, again, sweet. I was in Uttar Pradesh. I usually avoid going to marriages, but it so happened it was unavoidable circumstance. There is a competition between the ladki walas and ladka walas. Who eats how many laddus? Ore? 30-35 tak kha lete hain. That is their main meal. And in between, because after a few, your tongue becomes numb. And you don't feel like eating any further because there is a sense of disgust. Jugupsa. Then what do? There is something chatpat. Some chutney, some pickle. Some choose to have some mirchi in between. The palate reawakens, jolted up. Again, 3 maro. Again, a little chutney. So, seems like it, right? That you can seem to tolerate it only in the presence of dukkha. What here they are trying to say is, one, they are trying to awaken the intellect. Because the intellect loves patterns and the mind loves to settle in that pattern. The intellect loves the pattern and our mind loves to settle in that pattern. We call that as a comfort zone. So therefore we create those comfort zones. One thing that I understood after becoming a brahmachari, that being in this path, the way it is designed, you can never settle on any comfort zone. What is the most comfortable thing that we would like to settle in? Food. When the food becomes bhiksha, sometimes spicy, sometimes salty, sometimes sour, sometimes more cooked, sometimes undercooked, and even the way things are cooked, they are different. Sometimes oily, sometimes no oil, sometimes this, sometimes that. Completely unsettling every single meal. So since then my common dialogue when somebody asks, Swamiji, what do you like to eat? Is my comfort zone. My answer has always remained, the best cook in the world, my own cooking. Because that is the comfort zone. Everything else is unsettlingly pulling, yanking me out of that comfort zone. Wherever that pulling happens out of the comfort zone, we start resisting it. But then the intellect has to be pulled out of that comfort zone, that pattern. As we start reading through Vedanta, we have started arranging a certain pattern. ये होगा तो ये होगा तो ये होगा, therefore. You know the 3 dots? Hence, therefore. We are drawing a 3-dot pattern in everything. Hence, therefore. हाँ, अब मेरे को समझ में आ गया. Vedanta, what does it do? It completely shatters every pattern that we try to create. Because the moment we try to put this divine, this Brahma Tattva into a pattern, what are we ending up doing? We are limiting that Brahma Tattva, which is infinite, into something finitude. Therefore, the contradictions are given. That there is no comfort zone created. Because the moment there is comfort zone created, sadhana doesn't happen. The moment the intellect loves to recognize patterns and the mind loves to comfortably settle down into that comfort zone. As soon as the mind settles into a comfort zone, sadhana gets thrown out of the window. There is no further progress that is happening. What should an alert, intelligent sadhaka constantly do? Keep recognizing the patterns. It is not that you avoid it, it is not that you indulge in it. The baseline should be that there should not be a room for any pattern to settle in. So when you interact with people that are closely associated with me, some think that I love coffee, some think that I don't drink coffee. Because the mind settles into the pattern. When I said, I don't drink coffee, break that also. See, in the Mahabharata war, Bhagavan Krishna had made a promise. One side my Narayaniya Sainya, the other side non-participative me. In combat, I will not participate. I can do the Ratha Chalaka, but I will not pick up any Astra Shastra. As was known to everyone. But then comes that fortunate day wherein this Bhishma, the old fellow, 9 days of war had happened and nothing was happening. He had already promised that he would not kill any of the Pandavas. His responsibility was to protect the Kauravas. So what had been happening 90 years before, that was continuing on the battlefield also. Finally, Bhagavan Krishna jumps out of his chariot. There is a broken chariot. He pulls out the wheel and rushes towards Bhishma. And Bhishma, realizing this sacred opportunity, throws his Astra Shastra, comes down his chariot and kneels before Bhagavan. And says, please, what is more a blessing than finishing this life in your hands. Come on, do it. And then frustrated Krishna throws that chariot wheel next to him, it shatters into pieces. And it looks sternly towards Bhishma. Bhishma understood. Many people say, but didn't Krishna promise? Why did he break the promise? The question is not about promise. The question is that the mind should not settle in any kind of pattern. जहां सेटलमेंट दिखे उखाड़ो. Before it settles in, before there is any even possibility of ankura that can happen, I am not even talking about the roots, the germination of a possibility, identify, uproot. Therefore contradictions are given. In the Upanishads they say in a different language but meaning the same thing. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. We have adapted that into a bhajan. Remember which bhajan? Guru Mahima, Guru Mahima, Apara Mahima, Guru Mahima, Anoraniyan, Guru Mahima, Mahato Mahiyan, Guru Mahima. The contradictions are given just to say it is neither small nor big, neither short nor long, nor fat nor thin. Meaning what? It is in the small as well as in the big. It is in that which is short as well as that which is long, that which is fat as well as that which is thin. All these are appearances. They appear only because there is that substratum. And he says, arūpam. What does arūpam mean? Colorless. For saying formless, Paramatma, what do we use? Nirguna. Is it arupa or nirakara? Akara means form. In the Vedantic usage, we say rupa is the color. Arupam, there is no color that defines it. Undefined is the color of the sky which appears as blue. Therefore, that infinite, when it takes an avatara, we usually symbolize it with the bluish hue, indicating the infinite. Otherwise, there is no color to it. Arūpam. Agunam. There are no attributes that you can attribute to it. All the attributes are experienced because of its presence. But it per se is attributeless. Arūpam, agunam. Avarnam. Avarnam, varna has various meanings. One meaning of varna is color. But color is already taken up. Therefore, here it has to necessarily mean no jati vishesha. See, varna and ashrama, there are certain responsibilities prescribed to each varna and ashrama. I will give you an ashrama example because our understanding of varna is too messed up. Who is qualified to do that which Dasharatha did to have children. What was the process? It was called Putra Kameshti Yaga. If I as a sannyasi call for a yaga for Putra Kameshti, डंडा लेके मारेंगे, भगा भगा के मारेंगे. Which ashrama is qualified to do that? Grihastha ashrama. Why? Because the couple have to do it. Putra Kameshti Yaga. Somebody who lives in a hutment, has no wealth, plans to do Ashwamedha Yaga or Rajasuya Yaga, disqualified. You have to be a Kshatriya. Is it called oppressive behavior? None at all. All these Varna and Ashrama differentiation is not for this Advaita Tattva. It is only for Vyavahāra. Avarnam. Akhyam. Akhyam means that which does not have any name. Oh, we have so many names. We have a Paramatma, Parabrahma Tattva, Brahman, Bhuma, Madhu. There are so many names given. These are the names for the nameless for our understanding and interaction. Brahman is reality. The name Brahman is not reality. Paramatma is real. The name Paramatma is not real. It does not have any name. Arey bhaiya, ye समझो. When there is nothing other than that pure consciousness, what is the need for a name? If there is someone other than you, that is when you require a nomenclature to call upon. क्या अपने से भिन्न कोई है ही नहीं तो किसको बुलाओगे? Therefore, akhyam. So when you are writing it, you can write -akhyam. That there is no name to it, no nomenclature to it. All the names are created by our mind only. When the socialist Marxists say all these are man-made, we also agree. All these are man-made. Except that which is being named is the only thing real. All that which we have named, the names, that is not real. Akhyam. Tat brahma iti avadhārayet. Understand that which is in and through all the contradictions and far beyond the contradictions, both together applicable at the same time. That Brahma Chaitanya is my true nature. Continuing. Yadbhāsā bhāsyate'rkādi. Bhāsyairyattu na bhāsyate. Yena sarvamidaṃ bhāti. tadbrahmetyavadhārayet. What does this shloka remind us of? Na tatra suryo bhāti na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhāsā sarvamidaṃ vibhāti. Mundakopanishad, Kathopanishad, Kaivalyopanishad, all these Upanishads, this mantra reflects same to same. Ditto, ditto. The same concept given here. Yadbhāsā bhāsyate'rkādi. What is it that illumines us to call it a day? It is the sun. It says that which illumines the sun as well. Imagine how powerful that must be. That which can illumine the sun also. Now if I have to present a logic, on a Sunday, when these classes were not happening, what was the most lovable thing to do? Extend the sleep. Extend the sleep to that point wherein उठोगे तो भूख लगेगी, therefore breakfast. नहीं उठोगे, no breakfast. So therefore that day what happens? There is no breakfast, but there is a direct brunch. Neither breakfast nor lunch, somewhere in between. You mean to say that when you were asleep, the sun rose, but for that individual, does the sun exist? Unless and until that Brahma Chaitanya permeates the mind, the Antakarana, and the Antakarana is awoken, and then through the Antakarana it permeates the entire creation, that creation is not cognized. Even the sun, the most illumining object of this Vyavahāra, is real only when this conscious principle through the Antakarana perceives it. That is when it starts to exist. Before which, beyond which, there was never a possibility. Therefore, that which is illumined or illumining everything, it is this conscious principle that illumines it. Yadbhāsā bhāsyate'rkādi. And they say arka adi, etc. During the night it is the moon and stars. When we are away from the moon and the stars and it is dark inside, then you have various light-giving sources, adi, all of them put together, etc. Here adi does not mean beginning. Here adi means etc. ... Fill in the blanks. Yat bhāsā bhāsyate'rkādi bhāsyairyattu na bhāsyate. There is no one else required to illumine this illuminator. Otherwise there is regression infinitum. फिर उसको ज्योति दिखाने वाला और, and to that one more. There is no more such continuum. This alone is the illuminator. yena sarvamidaṃ bhāti. And that because of which everything is perceivable. The Chaitanya is self-illumining. The Chaitanya illumines and awakens the Antakarana. Through the Antakarana, the entire world of happenings are illumined. Therefore, the world of experience is also illumined by that illumination, though indirectly. Why indirectly? Just like the phone, if you take away, delete the operating system, what happens to that phone? It is a dead paperweight, costly paperweight at that. When the OS corrupts, there is no in message coming or out message going. Similarly, the operating system for us, as long as we are in this system, is the Antakarana. Through that Antakarana alone, I can perceive. But that Antakarana is not independent. It has to be illumined by that Atma Chaitanya, thus illumined and enabled. What is that word that we use? Empowered. We use that word so randomly, right? Women empowerment, youth empowerment, empowering the economically backward. So, empowerment. Without this empowerment, the Antakarana cannot perceive. Antakarana perceives, therefore I recognize the world. Therefore I am independent of the world because I am illumining the world through that Antakarana. Yena sarvamidaṃ bhāti. That illumining conscious principle is Brahman, and that is my very core state of being. Avadhārayet. Avadharana. So you can once understand this and experience it, you can also claim yourself to be avadhani. Those who do the avadharana is called the avadhani. Avadhana means what? It's not about memory. Avadhana means is to realize, is to come to know the knower. Come to know of oneself as that Brahma Tattva alone. That which is this conscious principle. Let us stop here. I don't know the exact date when I will come to the 68th, but it will be soon. Whenever it happens, before 27th or on 27th. But this month we will conclude with Atmabodha. Just letting you know. ఇంకెన్ని రోజులు చెప్తారో నాకు తెలియదు. ఓం సర్వే భవంతు సుఖినః, సర్వే సంతు నిరామయాః, సర్వే భద్రాణి పశ్యంతు, మా కశ్చిత్ దుఃఖభాగ్ భవేత్. అసతో మా సద్గమయ, తమసో మా జ్యోతిర్గమయ, మృత్యోర్మా అమృతంగమయ. ఓం పూర్ణమదః పూర్ణమిదం పూర్ణాత్ పూర్ణముదచ్యతే, పూర్ణస్య పూర్ణమాదాయ పూర్ణమేవావశిష్యతే. ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. హరి ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. హరి ఓం.